Hey, hey, everyone. It is Saturday and it is now March. It's time for the next AMA. I hope everybody's doing well and having a great meeting. Uh, yeah, and everybody has been asking, okay, what is Bitcoin doing, and what's going on with the status of the Monopoly project, and hopefully I'll be able to give you guys an informative update. I'm just going to kind of wait around a little bit to see if more people join. Um, yeah, let's see. We've got Tammy. Tammy, if you can say hi to everybody, that'd be awesome.
Hi, everyone.
Tammy, can you give us an update on what you've been doing in terms of just logistics in our existing operations and the potential that you found for Monopoly? I'll give you a second to respond.
Yes, we have been talking to a farm where they have the existing power, but they do not have existing water, and we're negotiating a price with the rent right now.
Okay, so yeah, let me just try to give some clarity on that for everybody. Um, there's two components that we fundamentally need to operate a mining farm here in the UAE. One is the power, which we found quite a few sites that have that. But the other missing component is having water, and not just any water, not well water or anything like that, but specifically municipality drinkable potable water is very important, because if we don't use potable water, what happens is it will clog the air screens, and then I'll have to replace them every other month like I was having to do before I got municipality water. Um, and another thing that has to be mentioned is that if we do acquire a new site, the infrastructure is not turnkey. That means there is no building, there are no shelves, there are no PDUs, there are no fans, there are no cooling curtains, there are no pumps, there are none of these things. All of this stuff has to be built from scratch, and it costs money to do that. And what I've been hoping to do is, use or leverage existing other operations to be able to run Monopoly on the side. But if we have an independent site, that means we have to start from scratch. And we have to build out a foundation, pour a slab, build a building. And where's that money going to come from? Because the project really hasn't run long enough to have any kind of excess in my reserves to pay for such a thing. And so the only solution that I have for that is that you guys will have to wait. You'll have to wait until I develop some other projects. And when I bring those projects to fruition and I have profits, then I can fold those profits into building a new outfit for Monopoly. So it was kind of very unfortunate. When we started Monopoly, we acquired two separate properties. One, Monopoly was using half of that property, and then the other one is now where Cobra X is currently running. And the landowner of the other property that we had, after 1 year, they just said, "We're done with you. Get off our land." So all of that infrastructure that was spent to build out that mining facility, that was pretty much a total loss. That's a total write-off. And I don't have the funds, especially with what's going on now. We're building out multiple megawatt farms and things like that, and that has me expending a lot of cash that it's going to take time for me to start seeing a return from that investment. I'm not going to, immediately get that cash back. And so, although we're in a situation where we found power, and although it doesn't have water, I think we can have some workarounds to that. We're still in a quandary or a quagmire of, how where's the money going to come from to build from scratch, right? Because we don't have anything. There is nothing turnkey that is out there except for the one farm that we were kicked off of. But I have no idea I have no idea at all how I would, manage to get back in good graces and to get that site back up and running again. I know the owner and I know his brothers. His brothers are really good friends with me, but he's never been friendly with me, and yeah, I don't know what his deal is. So until we can, until I can save up the revenue costs, and you guys probably going to ask, well, how much does it cost? Um, for an air-cooled facility large enough to run Monopoly, just for the wiring alone, and I know this because I've been wiring up megawatt farms for a while, the wiring alone is going to cost 50,000 dirhams minimum. Um, and then you've got all the other things, you've got to build the slab, you've got to build the structure, you add all those things together. I mean, we're looking at what, 200,000 dirhams, which in US dollars, that's about 65,000 US dollars is what it's going to cost. And I don't have $65,000 just floating around in my bank account that I can throw towards new land to develop. So that's kind of the quagmire that we're in, and I don't have enough sites fully developed that have spare power. Right now, all the sites are using every little last drop of power that goes to them. So, you know, I'm not in a situation that I'd hope to be where I'd be able to build a site, there'd be excess power, and I could use that excess power for monopoly. It just didn't come to fruition, guys. Now, we do have plenty of power, and we do have plenty of sites that have enough power for monopoly. But again, it puts us back at square one where I have to build everything straight up from the land. And that usually doesn't take too long. Ahmad, you've been foreman now. Do you think we can get operational from start to operating within 30 days with our existing subcontractors?
Yes, boss. 30 days is enough time, but depend on subcontractor and the worker.
Well, yeah, we had a lot of issues with the megawatt sites that we're building out now with the subcontractors dropping the ball. But do you feel confident now that we have at least enough good connections with the subcontractors that if we buy the material and we kind of lay everything out, that we can get everything done within 30 days or so?
Yes, boss. We will do that.
So here is the latest update with Monopoly. We have the land, we have the power, we don't have the water. So we're looking into a possible water solution. And by land, I mean land that already has a power room that has about a half a megawatt worth of power running to it. All right. So we need to work out the water situation. We need to figure out how we can get water to that land. And then the last hurdle is, where do we come up with the 50 or 60 grand that it's going to take for me to trench in the sand, build foundations, pour a slab, build up a structure. We already have the shelving, we have the PDUs, we'll have to buy the fans, the cooling curtains we'll have to buy, and then the cooling pump and the reservoir and stuff like that. I mean, all in all, it's going to be about 60 grand to get all that stuff. And time wise, if I had the 60 grand like right now, and I had the water on the land right now, we'd be looking at 30 days. But guys, I don't know what to tell you other than we have the power. We have some of the critical pieces of the puzzle, but there are still some critical pieces that are missing. One being the funds to actually build the structure, and two being, water. And water, I think, is something that we can work out. Getting the funds, if it's going to come out of my pocket, that's going to take some time because I'm really over leveraged right now in quite a few projects with a lot of things going on. So maybe you guys can think tank and put your heads together and figure something out for that. I don't have, any magic wand that I can wave and make these things happen. People don't work for free here, and I don't quite have enough projects leveraged under some of these contractors to get them, to, maybe work on a loan situation or something like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, fundamentally, that's where we are. And, The issue is no longer can't find the power. The issue is can't find the funds and can't find the water, which we're working on. And, you know, we've got quite a few smaller options. You know, obviously we've got big clients that, you know, want 5 megawatts, 10 megawatts worth of power. And these sites are not suitable for them. They're not suitable at all for them. They're suitable for you guys. And that's what I was talking about. We're trying to match the power with the client, right? You guys don't need megawatts of power. You just simply need 500 kVA. That's it. Or actually less than 500 kVA, about 400 kVA. But that's all Monopoly needs. And so we're trying to match the power that we found or the power that we have access to with the clients that need it. At the same time, the situation with Monopoly isn't so much that we don't have the power now, it's that we don't have the funds to build from scratch a mining facility. We just simply don't have that in the till. Now, if Bitcoin goes up, you know, let's say to 300, 400K, then, you know, what's been saved in the till is going to be worth considerable more and have that power to get those things done. But yeah, I'm open to ideas, guys. If you want to like maybe do a revamp or a 2.0 version of the project to maybe generate the funds to pay for that, and then we just integrate Monopoly in with it, I'm totally open to it. I'd love to share with you guys all the videos and all the things that we're doing on this new project, this new Hydro project. Unfortunately, Discord is just awful. I can't upload video, anything over like a megabyte, it won't accept. It says I need to buy some special Nitro level something, I don't know, just nonsensical stuff. I'd really like to suggest that we perhaps consider moving to another platform that doesn't have those restrictions, whether it be WhatsApp or Telegram. I'm not a big fan of WhatsApp, but everybody over here in the UAE uses it, so it's really easy to kind of, you know, share you know, any of the information that comes through licenses or invoices or anything like that. I can easily disseminate it. Telegram is my go-to for the mining industry. That's just where all my contacts and all my relationships are in the industry. So if you guys would be open-minded to moving to a different platform where I can more freely share media and information, I'd be more than happy to do that with you guys and to keep you apprised. But hopefully that gives you a good idea of just where things stand. We've got the power. We're looking for a water solution, and we're looking for, you know, the capital expense. Where's that money going to come from? How is that going to be conjured up? When I get further along in these other projects that I'm tied up in and profits rolled in, then I'll be in a situation where I can comfortably say, you know, hey, Ahmad, let's you and me go ahead and pay for this and just get it done for Monopoly. Unfortunately, I'm not in that situation right now. Like I said, I'm stretched very, very thin. So I'm open to any ideas that you guys might have in the community of how we could, you know, perhaps raise or drum up some extra funds to pay for that infrastructure build out. So yeah, any ideas that you guys can come up with, I'm totally open to that. Let's dive into another thing here. What is Bitcoin doing? In my last video, I was just talking about it going sideways, 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 but we've had a huge dip, and you can see the three bull curves, the three parabolics that I've drawn. And I explained in the last AMA that what I'd like to see is have it bounce off this middle one and head more towards the super bull run. We're now halfway to reaching the dud bull run, I should say. And I don't know what to make of the market. I mean, obviously there is a lot of influencing going on in the Bitcoin market. You know, we've got a new president, and supposedly they're crypto friendly, but then they're doing all these crazy things that are literally just like economic death sentences, and it's making fear, uncertainty, and doubt become very prevalent in Bitcoin. Now, a lot of my TA friends are saying that this is all just a setup to get the really good highs, right? Because if we look at the very bottom of the screen here, we have something that's called RSA. Okay, and that is the the relative strength, or not RSA,
Excuse me,
RSI.
brother.
Yes.
We can't see your end. We only see Ethan.
Oh, really? I'm presenting right now. You can't see when I'm presenting?
But I can see.
You can see, but Tammy can't see. Okay, well, let me try
Yeah.
this. I'm gonna stop presenting and then I will start again to see if you guys can see it here.
Now I can see you.
Now you
Well,
can see it. Okay. So now you can see
just
it.
you. Just
Are
not the what you're presenting.
are you on your phone or something?
Yeah,
Okay, maybe
like
it's a
I'm on my regular phone.
okay, maybe it's a phone issue, but it definitely is recording. I'm looking over here and I'm seeing that it's recording. So it definitely is recording. Actually, I'm going to switch for the YouTube video so they can see directly what I'm talking about. They don't see our faces. But if we look down here, this is the RSI, Relative Strength Index, and we can see that it has two sides to it. So it has overbought and then it has oversold. So at the bottom here. And if we look at things on a really long time frame, so we can see at least on the month-long time frame that we've actually been in the overbought for quite some time. Like we've been very high up in this. And the problem with this is that it can only go so high, right? So we can see in the previous bull runs, it actually went above this little red marker. That's kind of my sell ticker. When it goes above that, that's when I need to start looking for a time to sell or a way to sell. And you can see that it got pretty close to that. And then, like how much further can it go? It can't, right? That's just kind of the natural law of the markets is so we've needed for quite some time, at least in really high time frames, long time frames, we've needed a reset of this RSI to go lower. And by going lower, what it does is it gives us more room to go higher. So from a technical standpoint, obviously on the daily, it was definitely oversold. And then we had a huge buy-in, and then we've just had this kind of weird lackluster. And I chalk this up, this lackluster movement, that's been happening all this week. This is just market uncertainty. This is, clearly, obviously, a lack of faith in the market of, what's it going to do. And we saw this previously in the 2015 to 2017 bull run. China purposely disseminated all this bad news, like they're going to make crypto mining illegal, they're going to make Bitcoin mining illegal, and we got these huge, fantastic drops. And I'll zoom out. Let me get out of I'll go to the weekly so I can go to that 2015, 2017 bull run. Yeah. And so, yeah, here is, I'll zoom it out. Yeah, so here is the 2015 through 2017 bull run. And you can see we just got these terrible, each one of these huge corrections was when China was like, oh, Bitcoin's no good, and people just dumped and dumped. But we can see after these dumps happened, we then had these phenomenal rushes back in. So, it was basically political manipulation. The politics would manipulate it with bad news, and then they would give some good news and it would run up. And they would dump it with bad news, and good news would, run up. And then bad news, good news, so on and so forth. So let's try to take a look and see what's going on specifically in our case. Wow, we've had just some amazing amounts of sideways. So instead of having the bad news, we just literally had uncertainty, 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 and then some good news, which would be the election, and then uncertainty, uncertainty, and then we had bad news. So this is where the dump is. So I would expect very soon we're going to see some major movement in Bitcoin. And I'm not thinking that it's going to go down. I think it's going to go up. So, the pattern is kind of repeating itself with the exception of the sideways movement. But the pattern is repeating itself of, telling bad news, selling bad news, and then some good news will come. And I think it'll come next week, actually. And then we're going to see, a good uptrend for the next following weeks. And it's definitely going to be an interesting journey because you can see that the good news came right in the average between the stellar bull run and the what we'll call dead cat bull run. And it caused to follow that. So I'm going to be very curious if within the next week, if we're going to catch up with the midway trend line. And to do that, let's kind of give some hard numbers. We'd be looking at it breaking 150 in the next 2 weeks. So if Bitcoin breaks 150 in the next 2 weeks, I think we're still on course for a pretty stellar bull run. I don't think it's going to last very long, but 700K is what my charts are saying. And then the worst case scenario would be 300K. So 700K is definitely, that's almost like a 10x. It's like a 10x from where we are now. So keep hanging in there, guys. The good news is nobody's really losing out on anything while it just goes sideways and sideways and sideways and drones on and on and on like that. So that's my thought, technical analysis wise, on Bitcoin. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just me and years and years and years of looking at the chart. But yeah, I'm seeing a reversal is imminent because we've corrected to where the reversal points are. Especially if you look on the weekly, you can see consistently in the bull market we correct around here, and we're just almost right there. So good news, your Bitcoin will be more valuable around the corner. Bad news is we've got a site. It's got the correct amount of power. It doesn't have water, and it doesn't have money to build. So if you guys can figure any of that stuff out, that'd be great. I'm going to take a look real quick now and see if there's any other questions that I missed on the AMA questions here. Let's see. What's the latest news on signing contract for the new site starting at, okay. I gave that information already. New project, what will be done differently and what will be done the same if we start altogether a new project. The main thing that I would do differently is instead of relying on third-party contractors, I think me and Ahmad have enough build-outs under our belt to where we can just hire the contractors directly, whether it be the bricklayers or the foundation build-out guys or the metal shed, we call it sandwich panel build-out guys. Like, we can just have all those things done directly now, and we can source materials directly, which helps us in time and it helps us in money. Monopoly had a great start, but we had our fair share of setbacks. One, having to turn off the miners, and two, struggling now to get them to turn on. Yeah, guys, there were things that were just unforeseen. With what was going on over there, they outlawed crypto mining, and we had a landowner that just he was, I guess, overly cautious, or just didn't like the idea or misunderstood that it was illegal and just kicked us off the land, and that definitely put us in quite a quandary, and it made things really, really difficult. And especially with Roop, Roop had his project Cobra X, and we were just struggling to get it operational because we couldn't get power upgrades. But all in all, the opportunity is there. We just got to figure out, one, how to get the water, and two, how are we going to get the capital to build fresh from scratch. because there's just nothing out there that's turnkey. It says, in addition, we had the reverse with Cobra X, a bad start, where we had to waited about 8 months before starting to mine. In the meantime, top of line miners, while still fish hunt, are not top of line anymore. I think we'll end well now that we started mining, but we lost much time. You know, the lessons to learn that I can share and impart with all these things is, you know, it's still the Wild West out here, guys. You know, there is no standard operating procedure. And every day we try to move forward to make things more standardized and more consistent in the way things are happening. You know, initially when I came out here, there were many turnkey farms that were just ready to go that I could just simply buy the farm and then adjust it to my needs, and boom, bada bing, you're going. That no longer exists. You know, now if a farm is going to be built, it has to be built from scratch, and it has to be built by hand, and it has to be built by me and Ahmad. And there's a good thing in that, because now I have control end to end on everything. I have quality control on how things are put together and how they're built. And I also have control over costs and material and time. So if somebody decides that they're going to take a nap all day, I can come on there and I can say, you're done, and bring in another guy. But yeah, it's changed enormously. The landscape has changed enormously. And the only thing I could say is the good news is we're connected now with the right people that have the power to get the power. That's kind of weird to say, but you know, the holy grail over here was to mine on sheikh land and to work with the sheikh, because the sheikhs are pretty much untouchable. Like, you know, any kind of law, anything that happens, they never had any problems. It was the, you know, regular Joe farm owners that were having a lot of issues. We haven't had any, Ahmad, we haven't had any issues or any fines or anything like that issued to us. So it's kind of cooled off, but at the same time, um, there's a lot of safety being under the sheikh's umbrella. You know, today we had electricians come onto a 1 megawatt site, and they were like, well, don't we need to get permits, and don't we need to get permission? And I said, no. I said, this is a sheikh's land. This is the sheikh. The sheikh makes a call and he says to do it, and it gets done. And they all kind of nodded their heads like, okay, we get it. So yeah, it's, well, you know, you got to keep in mind, guys, like, you know, for both projects, whether it be Cobra X or Monopoly, it's only, you know, been 18 months, you know, like it hasn't been even 2 years yet. And I know it's frustrating that, you know, you guys haven't gotten started back up yet. I'm doing everything I can to generate the revenue streams to take care of that. But the simple fact is, you know, it's just not coming along as fast as I could hope it would be. And even though we have the power and we have the land, we don't have the water, and we still have to figure out, you know, what the solution is to that. But with that being said, guys, I hope that answers your question. I hope that covers everything. And, you know, feel free to ask me more questions, but I think it's pretty clear, you know, where we are. Like I said, we've got the right power. We just need the capital to build from scratch. And I don't have that. I don't have that in my back pocket or in my savings account. So we'll keep working at it. We'll keep chipping away. You know, every day we're doing more and more projects, and you know, I'm sure something will shake loose. You know, and this is something that I've been telling other clients who've been waiting, you know, 8, 9, 10 months. So, you know, hang in there. Your patience will be rewarded. You know, Cobra X hung in there. The patience is rewarded. My other clients hung in there. They're now all getting turned on. So you guys just please be patient. Please hang in. Understand this is the wild, wild west. I can't wave a magic wand and make problems disappear. I have to fight through them every day. But things are always changing here. I mean, completely and utterly always changing here. And it's just a matter of time before something comes around the corner and we're like, okay, we can use this and we can plug in. So hang in there with me. We're always working hard. We're always diligently trying to make everything happen for everybody, right? It's not just you guys. You know, we have other clients that, you know, have been waiting quite some time. But I hope everybody's having a great weekend, and I'm gonna sign off with that, and see you guys in the next AMA, I guess. So take care. Bye.